Hi, my name is Andrew Taylor and I'm a specialist in program evaluation and community impact. And these three videos that you're about to see have been created with the support of the Region of Peel and United Way of Peel region as resources for you to use as you work on demonstrating the difference your program makes. They're three real short videos and they're each dealing with something that I found to be a point that people often get stuck on when they're trying to develop a plan to show how they make a difference, and I hope you find them useful. When you're trying to show how your program makes a difference, one of the things that's more important than most people realize is asking the right question. If you think about it, you can hear a celebrity interviewed lots of times and always ask the same boring questions over and over again, but then when someone thinks of something really insightful and really probing to ask, it can really open the conversation up and you can learn something. And the same's true when it comes to measuring the results of your program. Not jumping to the conclusion that the most obvious question is the right question to ask. So you might think, okay, well, we just have to figure out the question we're going to get answered through this work, and you might assume it's going to be, did our program achieve the outcome that we said it was going to achieve, yes or no? And sometimes that's the right question to ask. But there are a lot of other questions that are important, and the right choice might depend on your circumstances. So you might want to know, did our program help some groups of people more than others? What were the factors that helped us to succeed? What were the factors that got in our way? Was our program more helpful this year than it was last year? What parts of our program seemed to help people the most? All of these questions, or any combination of them, might be right for you, depending on your circumstances. Often, the most powerful question is the question that's going to teach you something you don't know. The question that's going to open things up and bring you back information that you didn't have before. I sometimes call these powerful questions. Powerful questions can make us anxious because we don't know the answers. People might be worried that what if I ask this question and it shows to my funder that I've made mistakes, or what if this question raises an issue that I know I don't have the money to address. Those things make us worry. But at the same time, questions like that are the questions that are going to take you to a new place in your understanding about your program and about the difference that it makes. Let's say, for example, that you've been using the same client feedback form for years. And let's say that it always tells you that you're doing a good job and it always tells you that people feel like the program helps them. That's great, but it isn't really teaching you anything. That question that you've been asking for a long time isn't really helping you to learn anything. It might be time to stop and ask a braver question, a different question. Maybe you want to say, why is it that parents from different cultural backgrounds are less likely to come to our program? Or maybe you want to ask, do we even know whether folks came in needing this kind of help to begin with? Or are they saying that they're happy because they would have figured this out for themselves anyway? Those are deeper questions. Those are more challenging questions. But those are questions that are going to generate information that'll leave you in a different spot in your understanding of your program and hopefully able to act in new ways. Making the right choice about the questions that you're going to ask has a lot to do with thinking about how you would use the answers. So stopping and saying, what am I going to do once I have the answer to that question that I'm not able to do now? Who's the audience that I want to be able to speak to? A lot of times people ask questions that they already know the answers to because what they want their evaluation to do is give them ammo to go out and make an argument they've already been making but make it more strongly. So they might sort of know already that their program doesn't really have enough resources to serve everyone it should serve. So they'd like their evaluation to make that point even more strongly for them, to show how they don't have enough resources and to show how the program can't really succeed unless it has more resources. But if you think about it, that answer doesn't really take you anywhere. That answer doesn't really enable you to act in new ways. It doesn't really help you move forward in your own understanding or even move forward in your conversation with your funders or your conversation with your partners. Maybe a more powerful question is the one that enables you to understand why it is that or where your resources are going and perhaps whether those resources, limited as they are being invested in the right places. So asking questions that you already know the answers to can sometimes be tempting, but it often doesn't lead to a lot of learning. One of the little tests I sometimes do when people are sitting down to think of the questions they want to get answers to through their evaluation is I say, okay, let's imagine this was the answer. You've asked the question, does our program improve self-esteem for teenagers? let's say the answer is yes, it does for 7 out of 10 kids, but not so much for the girls as it does for the boys. What are you going to do now that you know that? And if people have no answer to that question, I think, well, that's probably not the question we should be asking them. Let's think of another question that really does take us to a place where we can act. You know, in some ways, I think people believe that getting data is what evaluation is all about. You know, getting the evidence, putting it together, and having something impressive to show people is all about. I really believe that the heart of what you're doing when you try to see if your program has made a difference is in the asking. The heart is in putting yourself out there to learn, to understand, to listen, to have information come to you that you didn't have before. Whatever those answers are, the change in your practice comes in the asking.